everybody. Welcome to the June 24th, 2024 Historic District Board of Review meeting. Could we have roll call, please?
Mike Pittman,
Here.
Ken McWilliams,
Here.
Happy Smith,
Here.
Carol Ann Rogers,
Here.
Sandy Palmer,
Here.
Bill Jewell,
Here.
Jed Skillman.
Here.
Did everyone get a chance to review the minutes from the last meeting?
I move we approve them as submitted.
Second.
I second him.
We've had a second and a third.
We got it.
Roll call vote, please.
Sandy Palmer,
Approve.
Ken McWilliams,
Approve.
Bill Jewell,
Approve.
Jed Skillman,
Approve.
Carol Ann Rogers,
Approve.
Happy Smith,
Approve.
Mike Pittman.
Approve. I'd like to welcome everybody to our June meeting. Looks like we had a good crowd tonight. To give you an idea how we run the meetings, what we're going to do is we're going to go through the list of applications up there. What we'll do is I'll say your name and address, ask you to come up to the podium. If you'll say your name and address when you get there, because I always forget to ask you, but Nicole reminds me. Say your name and address when you get up there, what you're presenting, and then Nicole will present your application. She'll go over what you're going to do, and then I'll ask you if you have any further input, if you'd like to describe what you're doing, and then the board will ask you any questions or clarifications they need on it, and then we'll have a discussion, and then we'll ask the audience, the public, if they have any comments on your application, and then we'll do findings of fact, and then we'll do take a look at that, have a discussion during that, and then we'll do a roll call vote. Make a motion to a roll call vote. So with that, we'll have Brian Marshall. He's our first applicant, 108 West 5th. Welcome back, Brian. Nicole?
Brian Marshall, 201 Plum Street.
Thank you, Brian.
And before I go over the applications, if the board, please remember to use your microphones. If you can have them kind of angled like I do towards your speaking so that they can get picked up both by the speakers for the audience, but also for the recording, because it makes it a lot harder to do minutes if we cannot hear you.
Sandy, turn yours on there. There you go.
So you can turn it on when you're speaking. Just make sure the red light is on before you talk.
That's what we have to do.
But this is an application for 108 West 5th Street to build a 40-foot by 47-foot pole barn. This is a non-contributing vacant lot. This are two photos of the current lot, as you can see between two historic structures. The applicant has provided a variety of photos of surrounding buildings, both on West Street, 4th Street, and 5th Street. A couple of additional photos for the board, a variety of materials shown in this part of the district. Site plan remains the same, 3-foot setbacks off of the front and sides and the rear. This is a previous picture showing how the building will be set between the two historic structures. New rendering for you. So the applicant has revised his drawings to a vertical board and batten metal siding with a 10-foot garage door, 12-foot wall height, but a peak height of 22 feet. And then this is one example photo of that vertical metal siding for you. And that is all I have. As part of discussion, we would like the board to let staff know which guidelines they would like to review this under for findings of fact.
Any comments?
No. I'm happy with either residential or commercial.
In looking at it, I took a look at it, and we've got enough mixture of different types of homes and businesses and city offices. I mean, there's a good mix of different things there. So to me, I think, Brian, you're going to use it as an office slash place to put your personal cars and things in there. elevators or anything like that in there?
No.
So I would say, it's a good blend of both commercial and residential, I mean, the way it looks, so I think either residential, I think would probably be more appropriate.
I think either would work, but I guess I was going by the houses that, on 701 and 703 that he's recently renovating are gonna be apartments, residences. The house next door to it is a residence. I mean, it's commercial across the street.
Yeah.
The district is business, central business, but I would think the residential outbuildings probably.
I read through the commercial guidelines. They seem to really, to me, to be tailored towards our Main Street with a real packed-in commercial area. It's the guidelines relevant to residential areas seem to describe more of this area where this pole barn is being proposed.
Anybody else?
No.
Do we need a motion, or do you,
No, I got a consensus.
okay, residential. Thank you. Okay, Brian, talk to us.
So that means we're going residential, even though it's a central business district?
Well, they will evaluate it based on the residential guidelines,
Oh,
so. I mean, if you look at the business guidelines, they talk about consistency of the buildings going across and the consistency of the style, there's really no consistency in that particular neighborhood, so.
Right.
I think that'd be very difficult to do it with the
Yeah.
business side.
well, I've tried to change it, you know, to make it look more commercial, since that's what it is. I've raised the pitch of the roof, raised the garage door, the ceiling. We're gonna have 2x4 walls. It's a conventional, I mean, it's not a pole barn.
Are we asking questions at this point? Just because you did that great drawing on the last month that showed us sort of the difference in the height of the buildings, and this one, it says, then you've changed the peak and the dimensions of this. If we went back to that other slide, would you be able to show us kind of the change if it was just sort of pointing with your finger?
Well, it's like 24 foot now, tall.
And that one,
Absolutely.
and that one was how much? I mean, how tall was that one?
Do you remember?
That was 9 feet. Ryan Rogers, 804 East First Street.
Thank you, Ryan.
I've been doing the drafting for Brian on this particular project.
Sir, could you speak into the mic as well? I can't hear you real well.
I've been doing the drafting on this project for Brian, so I can probably be a little more helpful with the dimensions and so forth.
So when I'm looking at the peak of that drawing, I'm seeing the peak, the walls were 9 feet.
Yeah, now they're 12, so I guess it would be 3 foot taller.
Okay,
That was 19 feet, the new one's
22,
22.
okay, that's
3 foot
helpful
difference.
to know.
Part of the reason we did that was to bring the scale up, because it does look like a smaller building between two larger buildings. Even though it's almost identical in height to 701, it's attached to the building behind it, so it seems like a two-story, or this is a two-story. So that just brought the peak up a little bit to kind of fill the opening a little bit more.
And then can you speak to, you said it is it's not a pole barn, the structure is totally different now.
Yeah, it's gonna have 2x4 walls, and I brought my contractor here as well. He can kind of give you more detail about the foundation of it, but it's a conventional building.
And the metal that you have, that's going to go all around it, backside as well as the sides?
Yeah, with standing seam metal on the roof. No exposed fasteners anywhere on the roof or on the siding.
As I recall, when you did your presentation last time, part of the problem some of the board had was that you were only gonna go partially back on the right and the left side, and that kind of bothered us a little bit. But you're going all the way around it now, are you not?
Correct.
And I rather like the looks of this. I don't think that's a bad look for that sort of building in that area of town at all. Is that what is it just above the window? Is that just like a little awning?
Awning, yes.
Awning, okay.
What we were trying to do there is kind of a modern, posted beam type construction that would be appropriate in any commercial setting today. From looking at the guidelines, you want to mix in with the older stuff, but you want it to be established as when it was built. You don't want to try to mimic something that's old, because it takes away from the historic value. But the design lends itself to a historic design, but with a modern flair.
So, Brian, your previous garage door was 8 by 7 foot tall. Now this is 10 foot wide. How tall is it?
10 foot tall.
Okay, that's fine. That's what I suggested. And board and batten can come in many different materials. What is your siding made of?
Metal. That's it.
Is it aluminum? Is it steel?
No, it's
Is it vinyl?
Yeah, it's steel.
It's right there.
It's steel? All right. Okay. And one other personal thing. You usually find vertical installation on the hilltop. In the district, you find more horizontal installation of the siding. How do you feel about making that change?
701 actually will have the same style of siding within the residential version.
And there's 3 other houses with board and batten in the same, on the same street, or just across the street. Just on the other side of West Street.
Yeah, I've seen board and batten downtown,
Okay.
Ken. Yeah, it's really a pretty common style of building, on the exterior. My question, Brian, that vent you have in the top, is that a vent or is it there in the peak?
It is a vent. I
Okay.
could go either way, a window or a vent. I would like to use the attic part as storage, so.
I would say either would work for me. I mean, depends on what you're gonna, if you need the light up there, that might give you some good light.
Right.
I think it's a nice design.
Thank you.
Brian, it's way less offensive than your earlier tries, so.
Any other questions from the board?
Just on the door itself, we had some discussion at that last time, so just,
The garage door? Yeah, now it's 10 foot tall, 16 foot wide.
and is that characteristic what it looks like, what we're seeing in that rendering, or is it,
Yeah, we
does it
didn't
look like
wanna
wood
get-
paneling? Does it look like metal? Does it look like?
We struggled with that. We really didn't know what, I just wanted to fit with the area of the building, my 2 buildings next door.
We've changed it to a wood grain, finish. It took away some of the historic look to it to make it look more commercial, based on previous meetings, thinking that we needed to go more towards the commercial side. The door can be whatever it needs to be. We're just trying to figure out what satisfies.
I personally like the wood grain door. We were just trying to, I guess, look a little bit more commercial.
Did I understand at the beginning, this is still a pole barn, or is now the construction different?
Can I address that?
Yeah.
So it uses post and beam construction, which is very similar to a pole barn, but a pole barn is usually exposed metal, typical siding that you would see. Post and beam is very common in any commercial setting for building a structure. So even though the walls are not built traditional, which Brian has offered to build it traditional, if that's what it takes to get it approved, it really doesn't affect the cladding on the outside of it. It just adds cost for his project.
So is it fair still to call it a pole barn, or are we now calling it something else?
I would call it a commercial structure because the finishes that he's finishing on it. If you look at properties up on the hill that are commercial, they're typically built with steel in the same manner. This is just fabricated with wood.
And so well, it doesn't matter. I was gonna ask interior walls, never mind.
Mike?
Yes.
What are you thinking?
Well, I'm thinking from the standpoint of what I see around downtown, there are a considerable number of what we call garage outbuildings that are basically post and beam construction. And if you put them in the country, you'd call it a pole barn. If you put it downtown, you call it post and beam. So to me, I think that type of construction is well accepted downtown. We've got several structures downtown we've approved that have used that type of building. So I see no issue with the post and beam construction at all. Because it's basically, we won't see it. What we'll see is the board and batten siding, which I think is be an interesting addition to the downtown. And I think, as far as the design, I like the window. I like the door the way it is. I think that breaks up the front a lot more than the original, and the awning breaks it up. Plus, it keeps you out of the rain, Brian, when you go into your front door. So I think that makes sense.
And you mentioned the foundation. What is it? Is it a concrete slab? What?
Well, it seems like to me that this is not the first time we've reviewed this. And the comments that we've made in the past, you have corrected them, you've changed them. And I find this a very reasonable look for a commercial building downtown. And, oops, hello. And I'm just wondering, what do we need to do to decide?
You don't ask them. I mean,
Go ahead.
I already asked him, and he's ready to answer.
Oh, Gary McGinnis, Carmel Road, Hanover. I'm the one building this. It's gonna have a monopore foundation, and it is gonna have studded walls. So it is a post and beam. It's not the typical as a pole barn. I don't care if it's in the country or downtown, it's a little different.
Okay.
So it's probably better than a garage, I guess, and certainly better than a pole barn, but that's the purpose of the pour, the foundation for the walls.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Gary. Okay. Any other questions from the board?
I'll just give a little bit of a counterpoint. We heard last month from a neighbor, Judy Kaler, about the many different residences that have been constructed in this neighborhood, and just the fact that the neighborhood's been kind of coming up, and there are a lot of really cool residences there, and we're caught, the town of Madison is caught in this kind of vicious cycle of, something else was approved somewhere else, so now we got to approve something that's kind of similar. So it kind of traps us in kind of putting things downtown that are not improving or really helping our historic district, because this is becoming a much more residential area. It's definitely got commercial buildings, fair enough, but it's definitely becoming much more residential, and people are really investing a lot. So I'm just speaking only for myself, really kind of hate to see another commercial building going in a place where, a true garage for one of the local residences or another residence could go in. So that's just kind of a counterpoint to what other people have said.
I understand that, but this block, the other side of the street, all it is commercial, the entire block. You got the hospital, the police station, it's the River Terrace, not the hospital, but, that's what I look at. The other side of the street is all commercial.
You're adding some residences you're fixing those two houses up on West Street there.
Oh, yeah.
So you're adding some residents as well, and we appreciate that too, Brian. I mean, you're taking some buildings that nobody wanted to live in, making them livable, so that's important. So I think that'll be a good use of this vacant property, the way it sits right now, so.
It was basically a dump before, it really was.
Yeah, well, actually, that was a good place to grow weeds. So, any other questions from the board? Any comments or questions from the audience? Okay, with that, we'll do findings of fact. Okay, Ken, you want to take us through findings of fact?
So these are, Brian, we always use the guidelines that come from the Department of Interior. And so this is new construction outbuildings, page 101 to 102. And the first bullet, 24.1, the design of new garages and other accessory buildings should be compatible with dwellings in the historic district. And it's not, because it's new construction, but it's new construction. So site new garages and accessory buildings appropriate on the lot, and it's perfectly situated on the lot. Materials used for new garages and outbuildings should reflect historic development of the property. Well, it's new and you have new materials, so, but I think the changes you made from the previous drawings, that really makes that work better for me. 24.6, eaves and roof ridge of the new outbuilding should not be higher than the existing primary buildings, and to the ones on State Street, they're not. So 24/7 windows which are readily visible to the public right-of-way should be appropriate to the style of the house, and they are. Metal garage doors with a panel design may be appropriate. And I didn't hear panel design, but you're doing something, you're just not putting up a steel door, you're doing. And the last bullet, 24/9, double garages, 2 single doors rather than 1 larger door should be installed. But you're choosing the larger door for, taking in materials and cars, So, Mr. Chair, there's issues still, but basically this meets the guidelines.
Jed, do you agree?
I agree.
Carol Ann,
I agree.
happy?
I don't agree. I think the guidelines are describing a garage, which would be accompanying a residence. And so I feel that it does not meet the guidelines for the historic district.
And I disagree too, and part of that is that I don't think the design of the new garage, it's an accessory building behind, and this has its own address, and it's the front of a main street. And I also think part of our responsibility is to look at, what the effects of the guidelines on the individual structure and also of the neighborhood. So for that reason, I don't agree.
Okay, thank you. Bill?
I agree. When I looked at this project, went all the way from the west end on Fifth Street, all the way as far east as you can go, looked at everything around there. It is very much a transitional kind of area, it appears to me. So I think maybe we should give a little bit on this one, because it's not all the same type of architecture right there.
Thank you, Bill. And I also agree that it meets our guidelines for new construction. I think, Brian, you've done a great job in modifying your original plan and bringing some compromises to the table. And I think it will add to the area from the standpoint of it'll be a building that I think will be maintainable very easily and be a good addition to that vacant lot. So with that, I'll entertain a motion.
Based on the preceding findings of fact, I move that the Madison Historic District Board of Review grant a certificate of appropriateness to Brian Marshall to build his 40 by 47 foot barn at 108 West Fifth Street, and the 24 overall height, standing seam roof, and a garage door that's 16 by 10 high.
Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Carol Ann seconds. Roll call vote, please.
Ken McWilliams? Ken McWilliams?
Yeah, I heard. I approve.
Carolyn Rogers?
I approve.
Jed Skillman?
Yes.
Sandy Palmer?
I deny. Can I just say that, thank you very much. You've taken our discussion for 3 months and you've come back with a much, what in our opinion is a much better design. I mean, it looks more like it belongs here, even though I don't think it belongs here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Happy Smith?
Deny.
Bill Jewell,
Yes.
Mike Pittman.
Approve. Brian, and I also appreciate your diligence and your persistence and your creativity and the resources you put together to come up with a new plan for us. And I think it'll be a nice contributing structure to the area. You'll get your certificate of appropriateness in the mail, and you can start filling in that big cavity there between those buildings.
All right, thank you.
Make sure you get all your other permits.
Yep. Yes, you will need a building permit on this one.
Larry and Joni Hoffman, location 1211 West Main Street.
Larry and Joni Hoffman, 1211 West Main Street. Thank you for listening.
Okay. Nicole?
This certificate of appropriateness request is to build a 26 foot by 26 foot 2-story garage at the rear of the property. The main building on this property is a circa 1890 contributing gable L, zone medium density residential, and that is that picture of the house on this property. And sorry, these are a little small. The site plan shows that garage on the back, they do meet all of the required setbacks. And then that's a picture of the garage, as shown, the 2-story garage. And this will be the side that faces the alley. And then just for overall dimensions, it's a 8-foot first story and 8-foot second story. So 23 feet tall proposed building.
Wow.
Still in the process of trying to, find contractors to actually execute it.
Okay. What else you want to tell us about it?
Well, we did speak with, we have one bid, right? But I think that's way inflated than what it needs to be. So we're in the process of having 2 additional bids. And so the last contractor that we actually spoke with the other day, so he's talking about building putting a poured foundation, a step foundation, and what we're gonna do is from the alley back into the yard, we're gonna come 15 feet off of the alley. That way we're just gonna take that dirt off and then put a retaining wall up, and then along with the garage. And then the upstairs is gonna be basically just my weight room, and then the bottom 2 is just gonna be our garage. We're just in desperate need just because of that street out there. I mean, I almost got hit, about a month ago, and we need to get this garage built. It's horrible, just the traffic coming down there at a high rate of speed.
Larry, just an FYI, Larry Crucifali says that when you're seeking bids, you get 3 bids, and you add all 3 together, and that's what you're gonna look at, so just be careful.
You forgot the time to add 10 grand into 3 bids too.
Yeah.
How does the height of this compare to the height of your house or the next door?
It's comparable to the next stores. I mean, so if you look at, I don't know the addresses, but if you're in the back alley, looking at where we're proposing to put the garage at, it's comparable to the height on the other 2 garages.
On both sides of that?
On
Okay.
both sides,
Okay.
yeah. And, in the one, Matthews is actually, it's recessed, at 15 and a half feet, where the one on the right is like really right up next to the alley. So, it's just, I wanna make sure that we give the sanitation trucks, anybody that has access in that alley, that they have proper clearance to actually, that we're not the limiting factor there.
I'm curious when, so I think your residence is 1.5 story, is that correct? Or is it 2-story?
It's just one store. I mean, it's
Oh,
just
one
an
story.
attic, yeah.
Okay, so when I look, if I'm on Main Street and I'm looking at your house, am I now gonna see your new garage kind of above?
No.
Being taller than
Not
your
at all.
house?
Because they're gonna, it's up on a hill, it goes downhill. So
Yeah.
it's going to be, you will not, yes. you will-
Right.
So it is taller, but it won't, be seen above?
No, not
Okay.
at all. Yeah, like I said, we're just gonna, that alleyway, we're just gonna come back 15 feet, we're gonna excavate all that dirt and just go back and just, put the retaining wall along with the garage.
When I was by, I looked at your house, a couple days ago, and we talked a little bit about, I had the idea, because it is up a hill, that you were going to excavate in, like,
Right.
cut back, because I'm shocked, this is not the way I pictured it. I assumed, like, the bottom of the garage door is going to be down on alley level.
It will be,
It will be.
it will be.
And like this thing is built into the hillside.
Exactly, yeah, so it's gonna be level with the alley, and
Okay.
then we're gonna have a retaining wall holding back our yard.
Cause that's about a 6-foot rise as a guess.
Yeah, exactly, we're gonna excavate about 6 feet of dirt, and then out to the, out to the property.
So how do you get in the side door there then?
We're gonna have to put a walkway, the contractor is talking about, putting a stair system up into the yard.
Okay.
And
So
then we
the-
can also put a door on the back as
So
well.
from the alley, the wall, each wall, the east and the west wall are gonna be flush right in with the dirt. That'll be a poured concrete
Exactly,
wall. And then when you get back to the access door, that's just come down a couple of steps and go in
Exactly.
the door, okay.
correct.
And then just as a guesstimate, really from, grade level of the house, you're above the doorknob as we picture it there.
Yeah, you would be.
So
Yeah,
that
great.
really shortens it down.
Exactly.
Okay.
And then the top level, you're almost walking into that easily from your
You
backyard.
will be, yep, correct,
And you said you're doing a step foundation up on the sides?
correct.
Okay.
Yeah, and so, we're still in the process of trying to, I was just having a conversation with him today, and, he's still trying to figure out like the logistics of it, but, that's pretty much what we're talking about doing.
What are the materials of the siding and the windows?
Right now, we have aluminum on our house, and we're trying to figure out what we want to do, some type of engineering, siding, or maybe even just doing the same type of aluminum that we have on the house on the garage. Because eventually, we want to, on our house, we want to possibly replace that siding, and then also raise the ceilings, and then also extend the back just a little bit. Just give us a little bit more room, just because, in the back, it's just like a 7-foot addition. It's just, really, well, for me, it's, too small. But for the materials, we're still trying to figure out what we want to do. But
Larry,
it's gonna be comparable to, like the surrounding areas. I don't want to jam anybody up with this, if that makes sense.
Larry, I think we want you to choose. Tell us what the siding, is it
Okay.
going to be LP siding or is it going to be vinyl? So,
LP,
okay.
yeah.
And the windows are vinyl, which is,
Windows are vinyl,
okay.
correct.
And the roof
Metal.
is metal?
Yep, we're gonna do a metal roof.
Okay, standing seam, did I hear?
I'm sorry.
Standing seam or
Standing seam.
faster? Okay. I didn't see that.
Also, when we talked the other day with the big, the oak tree that's in your backyard, we had discussed, root pruning, because it's a huge tree. And behind this garage, between the garage and where the house is a tree. And it's probably the drip line of the tree, is probably back about 20 or 25 feet from where this is. But you'd wanna have, an arborist come in and do a root prune, which is kind of an easy job. I don't know around here, but it's basically a big saw and they cut the roots rather than using, backhoes and bulldozers to tear up the roots, which could damage the tree. A straight prune will, save that tree, and it is a beautiful tree. And I'm sure you'd wanna keep it because that's a lot of shade for it.
Right, yeah, and we have no intentions of removing it.
Okay.
Just the one that's lifting up your structure in the back right now.
Yeah, when that happens, yes.
Okay, any other questions from the board? Any questions or comments from the audience? Got a bashful bunch today. Happy, would you like to take us through findings of fact?
Sure. So here from our guidelines, best practices kind of thing for historic districts. This falls under 24. So we're trying to kind of be compatible with the surroundings, and so 24-1 says the design of new garages and other accessory buildings should be compatible with dwellings in the historic district, and your design and styling and your LP siding certainly sound like those satisfy this guideline. 24.2, site new buildings appropriately on the lot, and you are doing that. You're kind of even going above and beyond with your excavation
Okay.
and kind of lowering of it, so I think that's good. 24.3 was asking that you kind of replicate if there's something known about your outbuilding from the past. You know, I think maybe you don't have information on that, so that one doesn't apply. The outbuilding should maintain a proportional mass, size, and height to ensure that it's not taller or wider than the principal building on the lot. So in this regard, I think normally you might not have met the guideline, but I think you're doing the excavating.
Right.
And you are building a high-quality structure, so I guess maybe we would say, we could maybe make an exception on that one. Or because of the excavation, you're actually meeting that guideline. Then we go to 24.5, the material should be historic if possible. So, you know, if you use LP siding, that would certainly be a good material. The roof ridge should not be higher than a primary building, an existing primary building, so the roof ridge shouldn't be higher than your house. And I think you said that was the
Right,
case,
it
right?
won't be, correct.
Okay. Windows will be visible, and your window style, looks good. Metal garage doors, will you have a metal garage door?
No, we're still trying to figure out what we wanna actually put there.
Okay, so metal garage
More
doors,
than
they
likely
like to
metal.
have a panel design if
Right.
you do a metal door. 2 single doors are preferred if that would be possible, but that's perhaps a more minor detail. And it's located at the rear. So I think essentially in almost all regards, you meet the guidelines. And we really do appreciate your beautiful specific drawings with specific
welcome.
measurements and feet and heights and widths. That's great.
Thank you. I thought we were underprepared with seeing the previous.
That's his
He's-
third
he's
try.
like 3 months to
Okay.
try that.
Bill, do you agree?
I agree.
Sandy?
I agree.
Carol Ann?
I agree.
Jen?
I agree.
Ken?
I agree.
And I also agree. Do we have a motion?
I guess that would be me because I need the finding of fact, right?
Doesn't have to.
Based on the preceding findings of fact, I move that the Madison Historic District Board of Review grant a certificate of appropriateness to, sorry, I'm on the wrong one. Who-
Larry and Johnny Hoffman.
Larry and Johnny Hoffman, thank you. Located at 1211 West Main. For the garage at the back of the property, that is the dimensions and the materials that they specify in their application.
I second.
We have a second? We have a
I
roll
second.
call. We have a third now.
Happy Smith,
Approve?
Ken McWilliams.
Approve.
Bill Jewell,
Approve.
Sandy Palmer,
Approve.
Carol Ann Rogers, Jed Skillman,
Approve.
Mike Pittman.
Approve. You'll be getting your certificate of appropriateness in the mail. Good luck on your estimates.
Thank you, really appreciate it.
And make sure you get all your permits.
we
Nicole
will.
can help you with that, and make sure you get down to City Hall, and good luck with the excavation.
All right, thank you so much.
Thank you all.
Appreciate it. guys
Appreciate you,
have a great day. Thank you.
appreciate you coming in. Okay, the next one is 12, wait a minute, we just did that one. 407 East Vaughn Drive. No, yep, Bill Vaunch, no, Bob Vaunch. How'd I get your name wrong, Bob?
Bob Vaunch, on that property on 407 East Vaughn.
Okay. Nicole?
This is a non-contributing building. The COA request is to build a top floor addition on the north side of the structure. I will just note that while typically we do not allow additional work in open space, he has received a variance of use to allow this application through. So no zoning issues on this one. Couple of pictures of the existing structure. Thank you, Happy, for providing these to staff.
It's a block from my house.
So the idea is to add an addition on the back of the first story, behind the current second story, to add a bedroom and relay out the existing plan. This is existing, so that back wall will go away, and then he'll add the addition. I believe those are the same ones as before. So sorry they're a little small. I'll try to zoom in a little bit.
Here we go.
That's all I have.
Thank you. What are you gonna do, Bob?
We're just trying to add on the back part, just make a little bit more living space.
Okay.
And it's on the back side, so it's not the front river view, you know. We're just gonna take the back walls, go straight back. Ain't adding no, living space to it at all. Just going with the same structure we have.
So you're not making it wider than the existing structure?
Now,
Okay.
we're gonna go with we got hardy board on it, we're gonna go with hardy board all the way up. Take the windows that's there, just move them back. Same windows.
So is this part of a larger project to rehab the building in general? If you're going with hardy plank, you're gonna put some money in it then.
Oh, yeah. Well, we got hardy on the bottom, cause that,
You
being
need
in
it.
the flood zone, you have
Yeah.
to have a hardy. So just to keep the looks, we're gonna go straight,
I mean,
stay
are
open.
you doing anything with the interior or any kind of upgrading on the structure in general, or?
Just making bedrooms back there. Instead of a story and a half, it'll be like a 2-story.
Okay.
We're gonna take that back part and just go straight out with it, with the existing wall.
Could you describe how the top roof is gonna look after you have the addition put on?
We're gonna keep close to the same pitch, because we don't have to go up as high, but it'll be close to the same pitch, same kind of metal.
Okay. So you will continue the roof on down, right? That we see there?
Yes,
The lower part there also has a pitch, so now that'll all go away
Right.
when you make your second story there.
yeah, we'll take that off, make that flat and then go up.
So then that'll be new siding on the sides there, then there'll be addition of matching of your current siding?
Yes. That's the hardy board that's on the bottom.
Is this your residence?
No, we stay there pretty often,
Okay,
but
so it's just
we
like
don't
a
live there.
vacation home or a weekend home?
Yeah,
then, right?
weekends and stuff. During the week too.
Have you owned this property for a while?
Oh, 5, maybe 6 years.
Will anything happen, over on the left there, it's kind of a gray, enclosure on the left of this picture. Is anything gonna happen to any of that?
No,
That'll just stay the way it is.
but you can't see, that's on the back side. Like I said, it's not on the river view.
Any more questions or comments? Any questions or comments from the audience? Sandy, would you take us through findings of fact?
I can see them.
You can see them.
Yeah, all right, so we're talking about the guidelines under new construction. Pages 88 to 90 in the guideline book. 26.1, where possible, locate the new additions to the rear so that they have a minimal impact on the facade, and your plans comply with that. 26.2 is the overall proportions of the new addition should be compatible with the existing building in height, scale, size, massing, so as not to overpower it visually, and I think your plans seem to meet that guideline. 26.3, the design elements of the new addition should be compatible with the existing building in terms of materials, style, color, roof forms, massing proportion, spacing of doors and windows, detail, surface structure, and location. If you're using the same materials and using the same windows, you comply with that. 26.4, additions should be constructed so that they can be removed from the original building in the future. I'm not sure that that's possible once you do this, but this is a non-contributing structure to begin with, so I don't think that's a problem. 26.5, vinyl, aluminum, or pressed wood are not appropriate in additions to historic buildings. We've already talked, you've met the guidelines, not using those materials. 26.6, wood windows are most appropriate for the new additions within the historic district. However, substitute window materials may also be acceptable. And the windows that you're using are like the ones that are in the structure currently.
Yes, yes.
Roof lines of new additions should be similar in form, pitch, and eave height. And I think you meet that guideline, except on that. 26.8, foundations should be similar, compatible existing foundations. We didn't really address that in your sketches, but I assume that they are. It's on top of the building that's there. And 26.9, consider in your plan older additions or other alterations to existing buildings that have acquired significance over time, and I don't think that one particularly applies.
Okay. Thank you, Sandy. Do we,
And so I think that your application is in compliance with the guidelines.
Bill, do you agree?
I agree.
Abby?
I agree.
Carol Ann?
I agree.
Jed?
I agree.
And Ken?
I agree.
And I also agree. Do we have a motion?
Based on the preceding findings of fact, I move that the Madison Historic Board of Review approve a certificate of appropriateness for Bob Vunch at 407 East Vaughn Drive for the proposed construction of a second story in the rear of the dwelling.
I will second that motion.
We have a motion and a second. Do we have a roll call vote?
Sandy Palmer,
Approve.
Bill Jewell,
Approve?
Ken McWilliams,
Approve.
Jed Skillman,
Approve.
Carolyn Rogers,
Approve.
Mike Pittman,
Approve.
Happy Smith.
Approved.
Bob, you've been through it, man. How many permits have you already gotten?
It's been a while.
Okay. Well, if you need any more permits, though, because you need from the city to start your building, so
Okay.
make sure you get all your other permits. You'll get your certificate appropriate in the mail. We really appreciate what you're doing down there. Thank you, bud.
Thank you.
Take care. Okay, the next two applications is 1016 plus East First and 1016 and 1028 East First. Both have the same builder. Different applicants, okay? We'll consider them separately.
Oh, okay.
We're gonna try to put you together. Well, welcome.
Thank you, thanks for having us.
This is Kyle and Stephanie Smith, correct?
Correct.
Okay, state your name and address.
Stephanie Kyle Smith at 255 East Crow Street, Hanover currently.
Okay.
This is a non-contributing vacant lot, zoned Historic District Residential. The COA request is to build a 44-foot by 66-foot new residential structure.
That's pretty.
Couple of different slides showing the anticipated look of the structure. Note there that materials include LP Smart siding, black metal roof, brick or rock accents. Sorry, the site plan's a little small, but they do meet all of their required setbacks. Couple of existing viewpoints of the lot. Like I said, it's vacant, but there are new construction buildings nearby. And then a couple of sample photos of elements of the structure. And this is the side that will face Fillmore Alley or the river. Couple of elevation views for you. And then lastly, the floor plan. And that's all.
Very nice.
We're excited.
Tell us a little bit more about it.
Well, we currently live in Hanover on Crow Street. Our backyard is the back of the post office. So
Wow.
we're a little excited about the view. So the front is very similar to what our neighbors will be, same kind of siding, aluminum clad windows, the rock. The rear, is just gonna be a little bit different with the pitched, awning, porch. Our neighbors currently have like a shed. That'd be the only real difference there, but we wanna put as much glass and as much window as we can to let in as much of the view and as much light as we can, so. The only thing we'd change on the back of here is we'd shift those stairs over to the opposite side. The right side I'm looking at, we're gonna put a garage door there for the golf cart. Our neighbors have the same idea. I don't know if we got a picture of the rear, but they've got slider, and then golf cart on the backside facing the river. And then a two-car garage on, First Street for our vehicles, so.
Okay, thank you. Any questions from the board?
How much, looking out the back, how much land do you own going toward the river?
We go all the way down to, Fillmore Alley.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So, and then on the other side of Fillmore Alley is the campground, right?
There's a green space.
Okay.
I think the Bennett's own that property, and then it's the road, and then the city campgrounds across the street from that.
Okay,
So it's green space and then the city campground,
okay.
correct?
So once you put this in, you're gonna have a nice view.
We have a wonderful view.
Okay.
I have a question for Nicole. The historic district, how does it go over there? It includes all the way?
It goes to the eastern city limits.
Okay.
So this is like 5 parcels inside the district.
Okay. So this is historic district, but really the historic buildings that are in this district are just those that are along River Road. Right? These new buildings, they're your building and the other ones are.
Second Street.
Yeah, there may be some along Park Avenue to the north of this. I would say most of the area around here is not contributing.
And you're builders, so you're working with the builder, but you're having design input?
Yes, so, we've been working with,
Hi.
so, we've been discussing helping us, plan some designs. She's familiar with the neighbors they've built.
And they've built the current homes.
Next door, three next door? Yes.
So that was three, and then this is two more, right? This one and then the next one, so that's 5. How many total are you gonna build?
I'm Alex Hammock, 517 West Street. So we have a total of 6 lots down there, and then there is 4 more, and Roger Welch is currently building 1 there. So then there are 6 open lots for building.
So 10 total? Did I get that right?
I think
10 total.
6 plus 4, yeah, 10.
Okay. And they'll all kind of, the ones that have already been built, to a very nice price point, a very, handsome buildings, so they're all gonna kind of stay in that same
Yes.
vein.
So part of the stipulations with buying the lot was developer approval. So we want them to look consistent with the neighborhood in proportion, and, the view is basically what everyone's looking at from Vaughn Drive. So it's Vaughn, green space, then Fillmore. So, we want the backs of them to look the same, and then the front, all of them, majority of the ones that we are building up there do have the 2-car garage on the top with master kitchen, dining room, so your whole living room is upstairs, your living area, and then in the basements, like additional bedrooms and rec room and stuff like that.
So when you say the lots are being sold, subject to developer approval, that is, the homeowner has some input, but the developer has to approve the final design? Is that what that means?
Correct.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? Carol Ann, would you like to do the findings of fact on this one?
I think I can do that. maintain a similar front, side, and rear setback to the other buildings that are near you there. Maintain the pattern of building separation, which you're also doing. And place outbuildings, you didn't mention any outbuildings or accessory structures. Minimizing ground disturbance, there's certain things you have to do that, but because you're gonna be the fourth one in the row, right? And I doubt it would be any more than they would have had. New construction should have heights consistent, and it is consistent. Make the scale of the building compatible with the scale of contributing structures, and it does that. Design the proportion, the ratio of height to width to the proposed new buildings, and you have done that. Use windows and doors in the new construction that are compatible in proportion, shape, location, pattern, and size with windows of other contributing buildings on your side street. Keep your siding and trim material consistent with other materials that are used in that block. The use of substitutes such as vinyl, aluminum, pressboard siding may be appropriate. Use materials in traditional ways. Vinyl clad and vinyl frame windows may be used in new construction, providing that the surrounding window trim and the muntin pattern are appropriate to the architectural style, and it appears that that's going to be exactly right. Use the architectural details on the building that complement the other contributing structures on the block. Provide a date brick. I'm not sure what a date brick is.
Is that where you put that brick in the building?
Yeah, it's usually in one of the bottom corners. It says built and then the date usually.
2024? Okay.
Yeah.
Who knew?
So it's clear to anyone who walks by that it's a new building.
Yeah. Okay.
How did that get in?
So would you take care of that? Make sure you get one of those bricks, please?
We won't make you tear it down if we can't find it, okay?
Take a big ink pen and put it up. Okay. Create in new construction a similar degree of texture that's found in contributing buildings in that district, which you're doing. The form and rhythm. It reflects the basic shapes and forms of that area. It's consistent with the other buildings. You're maintaining the same percentage and patterns of windows and door openings with slight differences, and that's fine. Let's see. Okay, the ordinance, the height is going to be compatible with the adjacent buildings. The proportions of the building's front facade will be the same. The proportion of openings is visibly compatible. The rhythm of solids to voids in front facades. I don't see that relates so awful much there. Rhythm of spacing of buildings, and you've got that. The rhythm of the entrance or porch projections. Relationship of materials and texture. It's very attractive the way it is. The roof shapes are very similar to the others. Okay, we didn't address this, but I'm sure you will do it because it's a very attractive building, but walls, wrought iron fences, evergreen masses, and building facades are kind of, you can enclose them to a point and places where it's visually related. And the scale of the building is very, very compatible with all the others next to it. So,
Do you feel it meets the guidelines?
I think that it meets the guidelines very much.
Thank you. Jed?
I agree.
Ken?
I agree.
Bill?
I agree.
Sandy?
I agree.
Happy?
I think it's a mixed bag of meeting and not meeting guidelines. However, you are really on the edge of the historic district. You have river lots, you have your own whole kind of assemblage of buildings there that are all maintaining a similar tone. Even though I think, doesn't really look like it's in concert with kind of historic Madison. It is its own thing, but since it's over there on the side with the view. I think it's a good place for an exception to some of our guidelines.
And I think it meets all the guidelines. It really fits that area well. I think the Hammocks have done a nice job in doing a good construction project down there. We're glad they've got them down there. So with that, I'll entertain a motion.
Based upon the preceding findings of fact, I move that the Madison Historic District Board of Review grant a certificate of appropriateness to Kyle and Stephanie Smith at 1016 Plus East First Street for their new home.
Do we have a second?
I would second.
We have a motion, a second. Roll call vote, please. Nicole?
Ken McWilliams,
Approve.
Sandy Palmer,
Approve.
Bill Jewell,
Approve.
Jed Skillman,
Approve.
Happy Smith,
Approve.
Carolyn Rogers,
Approve.
Mike Pittman.
Approve. You'll get your certificate of appropriateness in the mail. Make sure you get all your permits. And I think your contractors know how to get those permits, but,
Thank you both.
but we're glad you're getting out of Hanover, getting into Madison.
Yeah.
Welcome,
We're excited about the view. Thank you, guys.
welcome. Okay, our next application is Alexandra Hammock, 1028 East First Street.
Alex Hammock, 517 West Street. I'm also applying for new construction building on the same area, 44 by 66 new residential structure, single family.
And this is also a non-contributing vacant lot zoned historic district residential. Couple of existing photos of the wooded lot for you. Not much to see there. This applicant has also provided some renderings of the proposed structure. This will be from First Street view, from Fillmore Alley view, and then floor plan. I'm sorry the site plan didn't quite go through, but they do meet all their required setbacks. Try to zoom in a little bit for you guys. So it's gonna be 63 feet off of Fillmore Alley up to First Street.
Yeah, actually, it's gonna be 53 feet.
Okay.
So the house it's 42 wide and 58 long, so I believe that on the first slide was using the same, things from Kyle and Stephanie.
Gotcha.
Just, I would make that note. So 42 wide, 58 long. Setback from the front would be 14 feet, the setback from the back is 53, and then 4 on each side. So, this actually isn't going to be right in a row. We would be skipping a lot. I did add an additional slide with, the lots. So Kyle and Stephanie, the one just approved, would be lot 4. There's a 50-foot lot, which is lot 5. We're skipping a 25-foot easement, and then we would be on lot 6. So lot 6 is what I'm, currently asking for approval on. We are gonna be using LP siding, aluminum clad windows, shingle roof. The front, we're gonna keep pretty much the same. We've talked about making it, instead of the double garage, a single garage. I personally like the double, but, depending on what we decide. And then on the back, if we could go over one slide. There's sort of a flat roof, to like the left side of the building. That's where the dining room is, and we're actually gonna put a gable over top of that mimics what the front of the house looks like. Just flat roofs, they tend to have leaks and stuff, so that's the only reason we're changing that. But otherwise, we're gonna keep basically the same look as what I've presented here.
And the roofing, it's shingle, but it looks like it's
In
metal.
the picture, it's metal, but we are gonna use shingle.
Okay.
Okay. Any questions from the board? Comments?
How do you feel about doing the 2 garage doors?
I like the 2 garage
garage doors. The only reason, we thought about doing one is because the two garage doors is hard for larger vehicles, like a full-size truck or a large SUV to fit in, and that's why we had thought about doing the two versus, or the one versus the two. But still in the decision-making, we haven't ordered anything, obviously.
If you do the two garage doors, they'll be the same. You won't have one that's taller than the other. So somebody can bring their jacked up pickup truck in on the other side.
Correct, they would be the same size, yeah.
Tony Hammock, father of this lovely lady. Two garage doors, what you get into, for 8-footers, you can't even get in with a medium or a little bit larger vehicle. So then you got 8 and 8/16, wall on this side, wall in the middle, wall on their side, you got way too much space, you doesn't burn up. You know, we like that look. If we can work that way, that's what will happen, but need to be at least 9-footers, and you better be moving your mirrors in when you're driving in. We like to at least sell a product that you're able to use. You know, you get a garage, like to be able to drive in it.
Do you have room to do a 10-foot wide door?
Well, I don't know about that, cause you're in your 20 feet and you got 3 more walls, so you're 20, 22, 24, 26 wide across just the garage area, minimum. That'd be minimum you'd be.
Yeah, and that would, eat up our space.
Right, so you're burning up all your lot space then, cause we're staying 4-foot back instead of 3-foot. That way nobody ever got any complaints about overhang, all that type of stuff too, so we don't go all the way to the 3-foot. In case somebody wants to.
So both these garage door openings will be 8 feet wide as they are pictured now, correct?
Probably not. You know, like 9, either
9?
Yeah, I believe so.
9.
Well, that, I'm not, it doesn't even say on
Yeah,
the
they won't be
drawing.
8, they'll be 9 more likely.
Yeah, have you
Like I said,
considered
you wanna be able to get in, you wanna be able to drive in your garage if you buy a house.
make one 8 and make the other one 10?
Probably not.
Nope.
Probably not gonna do that.
I don't think that the
We like
garage,
to be same.
well, I don't think that we'll have enough space with all the other things that are currently on the floor plan to make the garage any bigger. So that's why we were possibly gonna do a single door versus the two. We do like the look of the two, but a single I think is more practical.
Don't wanna tell you something's not gonna happen.
Okay. Okay, any other questions from the board?
Well, it's not a question so much as a statement. This is almost an identical, application as the one we just did. And it's just a different design, but there's no problem with the design either. Do we have to go through all of these again? All of the guidelines?
What our ideas on this is for them to kind of resemble, but not be cookie cutter.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We want some difference, but we don't want total way out of whack, you know, big, tall, and, you know, roofs, usually 10, 12, sometimes we got 12, 12 on some of that stuff. We don't never go no flatter than 8, 12, we don't on anything. Most downtown stuff's usually 10, 12, you know, and 8, 12 would be some flatter stuff around town, really.
No, what we look at too, Tony, is the materials as well.
Yeah,
You're
right,
using good materials, and
Right,
that's what
exactly.
Carol Ann's talking about, the materials and the windows and
Just be
stuff, so.
upper end stuff, and
Yep, it's
we're
good
trying to
stuff.
improve everything, not just fill in a hole.
Appreciate
This is infield project, in it, kind of what it go under a lot of this stuff.
Appreciate it. Yeah, I don't think there's an issue if we wanna, you may have Carol Ann do the next findings of fact, and she can just say ditto, ditto, ditto.
Well, you can't do ditto, but you can, whoever does the finding of fact, you don't have to, you never have to read the entire guidelines. You can simply say that it meets,
I have a volunteer.
yeah, whatever point, whatever to whatever point, whatever
Okay.
in the guidelines. You don't have, you never have to read the entire script.
Ken, would you like to do findings of fact?
I will.
Okay. Oh, is there any public comment? We've already heard from one. Yes,
Okay.
ma'am, come on up. We'll need your name and address.
Vicki Young, 1032 Park. I only have a question regarding how many of the houses, you had asked how many, and she said 10. So if the previous address was 1016, is right next door to that, and 1028, is that right next to Rogers? says Rogers 1030. Okay, so that's why I'm a little confused as to where it is.
Yeah. So, when we bought these properties, originally, there were multiple different lots, 25 feet, wide each. We've made these now 50 feet, which has messed up the addresses, so when we've gotten it, through the courthouse, we've had to get each parcel split, and it's sort of changed the addresses, and once I get that split, then I can apply for an address with the county. So that's why we're currently, they were 1016 plus, they're gonna have to get a new address, so they'll probably be 1018. And, I'm probably gonna get an address that more reflects the building that we're currently on. 1028, if you look at it, it has two other lots in that parcel on the GIS, so we're gonna have to separate those lots, and they're gonna have to have their own addresses. So the addresses are a little funky, but we've been trying to get them, made as soon as we make it. So we've done 1010, 1014, because we had to sort of absolve an address because there were so many lots down there. 1016, the next one I would assume will be 1018, but that's all dependent on the 911 office, and that's who I get my addresses through.
Okay, so the people that were here earlier, they would be the 1018 or?
There will be
Something.
on number 14, which is directly next to the house that's, or number 4.
Number 4?
Number 4, and it's directly next to a current house that's there, 1016, the gray
Okay,
house.
so how many will be in between their house then and Roger's house?
1, 2, 3, 4.
4 more houses?
Yeah.
Okay, will there be anything on the other side of Roger's house?
There is one extra lot on the other side, and then I know. And an additional lot that is not, part of the subdivision, but is owned solely by Lisa and Tony Hammock.
Okay, at one point you had a road going down, so you're not doing that anymore?
I don't remember the road going down.
Well, there's a
The road
survey
is,
for it.
the road is through the city, and so whatever the city decides, we're just going off of First Street. So these are all addresses off of
Because
First Street.
initially on the, I don't know if it's called a plat or survey, you had to the east of Roger, and Mr. Pettit was here that day, and I asked him, and he said it would be to the east of Roger, a road going down, so you're not doing that anymore?
Right now, east of Roger.
Okay. Interesting, thank you.
Thank you.
I actually have a question. So originally, the lots were 25 feet
Correct.
lots, so
They
there
were
was a bunch
25.
more of them, twice as many, I guess.
So
And
we just
now
put them together and made 50-footers.
50 footers, and that was to accommodate larger, modern
Well,
houses?
25-foot, best we's gonna probably stick in there been a 20-footer. You know what I'm saying? You talk about shotgun, you'd have them.
Right.
You talk about identical, they'd probably been identical.
We're doing 50-foot wide lots, that way we can have a one-car garage, a master on the main level, laundry on the main level, so it would accommodate a more of a diverse crowd, so if people have handicap issues, they can come off of the first floor and never have to go into the basement if they don't want to, and they can have everything on one level versus historic homes in the district, your master's usually upstairs, and then there's no parking, so that's why we've did the 50-foot lots versus the 25-foot to accommodate more modern features.
Sure. And some numbers kind of went by here with this last question, but still, it's a total of 10 new houses that you're building. That's not including, I know, the Roger Welch one, and maybe another one. What's gonna go in this little strip here that's in between the lots? What goes there?
Utility easement, I think we let the city have that water line coming down through there, or sewer, one or the other. That was part of our deal, we just let them have that piece. Yeah, that's what that dead space right there.
So is that a utility easement?
Yeah, between 5 and 6,
Okay.
6-inch water main. We put new water down through there, and we had some sewer stuff along Fillmore's, to make all this happen. Put new electric in. I don't know if you guys been down through there or not, but that's kind of what all taking place.
Hi, I'm Lisa Hammock.
Yeah, no.
61.
Thank you, the boss is
26
finally here.
North 400 West. So the 6-inch water main, you cannot build within 10 feet each side. So there's, why even put a house close to that? So just dedicate it to the city, and then we don't have to worry about somebody digging that close. So that's why we did that.
Number 6 is gonna get a little more yard.
There you go.
They're gonna have mowing.
6 and 5.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Alex.
Okay. Any more feedback? I see we have a couple new audience members. Any feedback, any questions or comments back there?
If you've been down Bond Drive, you see how beautiful that's transformed
A lot of good stuff going on. Okay, Ken, would you like to do you're just chomping, do findings of fact.
Make him come up, say his name and address.
Do findings of fact.
So new construction details. So, and building placement, the first bullet is germane. Maintain a similar front, side, and rear setback to the other buildings on the block. The next three bullets aren't pertinent at all. Building height scale, the first bullet, make new construction at heights consistent with neighborhood dwellings. The next three bullets talk about compatible with contributing structures, and there's none in that neighborhood. Then materials, keep the siding and trim material consistent with materials traditionally used in the block, and you're doing that. They're all substitute materials since it's all new build. Details, architectural details that complement to contributing building, there aren't any. Texture, it's not germane. Form and rhythm, design new construction that reflects the basic shapes and forms on the block. Next one, maintain consistency with style buildings and structures found on the block. And the last bullet, maintain similar percentages, patterns, and window door openings consistent with the buildings. So this meets the guidelines.
Okay. Happy, do you agree?
I'll say what I said before. I think it's a mixture of meeting and not meeting our guidelines with regard to the historic district and historic buildings. But this is right at the edge of the historic district. It's kind of a thing unto itself. It's built to a very high price point. It's riverfront lots. I think it's a good place to make an exception to some of our guidelines.
Sandy?
I agree for the same reasons.
Bill?
I agree.
Carol Ann?
Agree.
Jed?
Agree.
And Ken?
I agree with myself.
That's a fair. Pretty good job. And I also agree. Do we have a motion?
Based on the preceding findings of fact, I move that the Madison Historic District Board of Review approve a certificate of appropriateness for Alexandria Hammock at 1028 East First, or some number close to that, with the proposed new construction of the house using the materials I identified.
Do we have a second?
I second.
We had a tie. I give it to Bill.
Yeah, he's been trying.
You give it to Jed.
Okay.
You give it to Jed. Roll call
Sandy Palmer,
Approve.
Jed Skillman,
Approve.
Carol Ann Rogers, Bill Jewell,
Approve.
Mike Pittman,
Approve.
Happy Smith,
Approve.
Ken McWilliams.
Approve.
Alexandra, you will get your certificate of appropriateness in the mail. I don't have to tell you, but get all your permits.
Okay, I will. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Tony. Appreciate it. New/old business.
Well, we have a new face with us, if you didn't notice.
We
to
did
my
notice.
right, Brenna Haley is our new historic preservationist, taking
Brenna.
over for Brooke. And soon we'll be doing all the reviews and board packets. But since this is her first meeting and she's only 1 week in with us, I figured I'd let her just watch and take it in. And then she may or may not be at the next meeting. We have yet to discuss that. She's going on a vacation, so.
Well, you have to
But-
relax.
She may be here, she may not, but so if she's not, August will be her first meeting where she'll be taking the notes and the minutes and all that jazz. So I'll not go away, but I'll phase out and let her do what she was hired to do.
Well, Brenna, we will be gentle in your first meeting. Don't worry.
Welcome aboard.
Welcome aboard. We're happy to see you. Where are you from?
Give your elevator speech.
I'm from Anderson,
Okay.
but I went to Ball State.
Well, welcome.
So Nicole. So did I. So big deal. They let me out.
That's because you made parole.
That was, I did spend some time at this hospital.
Okay, other note, everyone on their seat should have a little postcard. The State Preservation Conference is in Madison this year, from October 22nd to October 25th. I do have extra cards if anyone wants to take a bundle home to your friends, family, neighbors, etc. I have some here, some in the back. but since it's in Madison and we are a CLG, the state is offering 7 scholarships to the board, whoever wants to attend. I've heard from 4 of the 7 of you. So if you have not responded to my emails about that and would like to attend with a scholarship, let me know. I have to let them know in the next couple of weeks who's attending on behalf of the city with a scholarship. So if you are going to take a scholarship, do not register. They will register for you.
Okay, you 3 that haven't signed up.
Look
let's
look
get
both ways. Look both ways.
Let's get signed up. All righty? We want to be there. Let's show our colors.
Yeah, we just wanna know if it's on us. I plan to go regardless. I just wanna know if it's a scholarship or not, so we just need to know how many are going.
Okay. All right. What else do we have?
That's all for new or old business.
Okay. Next.
Staff report, short week for staff, or short month for staff. We only had 4 applications listed there. Kind of a mixture of everything. Only 1 sign, which I was surprised by. We do have a couple of pending applications, but they haven't been approved yet because we're waiting on some additional information. So don't think we're slacking and not doing our jobs, because there's probably 5 on my desks that are pending. But if you have questions on those, just let us know. And then last year review, Brenda and I went out and inspected last year's COAs. We had 3 that were not started or completed. 410 East 2nd Street, the garage roof remains the same as before the approval. 611 Mulberry Street, the house relocation is not happening. And then 921 West First Street, the new garage was not constructed or started. So those COAs will expire, and if they choose to move forward, they will need to reapply.
Okay. That it?
Yep.
I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'd like to make a motion that we adjourn.
You have a second?
Second.
We're out of here. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate it. Thank you, Bob. You made it all the way through. Appreciate it.